Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Grady Cool, CEO of Cool Wealth Management. Trying to do business with friends and family can ruin relationships. I've seen firsthand, professionally and personally, how mixing relationships and money can get ugly fast. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the real risks, some things people just won't tell you, and what exactly you can do to protect yourself if you are going into business with either real close friends or family. Whether you're thinking of starting a company with a buddy, building something new with a sibling, or helping your cousin get his startup off the ground, this is for you. There's a lot of emotional and financial risk that goes into going into business with friends and family. I had a client who went into business with his brother for a real estate company.
Didn't go very well.
First big issue was how much emotion there was behind every decision. His brother didn't want to work nearly as hard as him, but felt just as entitled to just as much of the profits as him. My client, who, to make things easier, I'll call Steve, couldn't say the same things he would to a normal business partner because he was scared to offend his brother and hurt their relationship. As someone who has a brother themselves, I can understand Steve's perspective. But when his brother is a little less competent and a little bit more comfortable fully taking advantage of the situation, it puts Steve in a tough spot. As you might expect, similar to a lot of family businesses, there was no sort of formal agreement about who would handle what within the business. It was just assumed that everyone would contribute. When the lack of formality didn't work out, Steve felt like he didn't 100% have a concrete argument to stand on and bring up with his brother, even though he was working twice as many hours. Over time, Steve began to resent his brother, not just for the work imbalance, but how it affected their personal lives and personal relationship. Holidays got awkward, conversations got shorter. What started as a shared dream turned into a source of tension. I've personally had people I've known who have wanted to start something together, and I'll be honest, it's tempting. But then I think about stories like Steve's, and I think about the awkward Thanksgivings, the dead group chats, and the trust that gets lost, and I can't with that. I'm not saying it's impossible. Let's talk about what exactly you can be doing if you are dead set on going into business with either friends or family. Treat it like a business. Get some sort of outside party like an attorney to draft up an operating agreement. Have defined roles and responsibilities. Talk about the money involved. How much equity is everyone getting? What are salaries? What do reimbursements and expense deductions for things like taxes look like? That can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Have a conversation around what everyone is expecting in the long run. Are we going to be selling the business? Do we want someone to be able to take it over? How long is everyone going to be working? What do we want out of this business? And you can't just have these conversations once. Have regular check-ins. Businesses, when they first start, frequently look significantly different 6 months down the road. Have that same conversation of, have roles changed? Have our visions for where the company's going changed? Has what we wanted changed at all? It's a little easier when you don't have to talk about 9 months worth of stress and trauma all at once, and it's just every month or two you're going through and talking about these things on a regular basis. This whole situation is riddled with common mistakes that makes doing business with friends and family go significantly worse. First thing is having an informal agreement, a handshake deal, if you will. Even though their contracts keep them safe for getting sued by outside people and being able to take profits in, it doesn't help explain who needs to do what work very well. It can be hard to do when you first start, but to everyone's best ability, they should try to define what is their responsibility and what they're going to take care of within the company. This should be readdressed on a regular basis to make sure everyone's held accountable. The other big elephant in the room is having difficult conversations. Steve knew that the conversation may not be constructive, but people assume that they know the people close to them so well that they know what the exact outcome is going to be if they bring up a certain subject. It doesn't change the fact that difficult conversations and clear communication is absolutely essential in order to make a business work. If it's going to blow up the company, then you are never going to be able to figure out long-term growth anyway. When I say you run the risk of ruining relationships, this is what I mean. If things don't go well when you do what needs done, you shouldn't be surprised if you already knew some of the characteristics of the person you decided to go into business with being pretty similar to what you might expect for poor things to happen. Holding people accountable does not go against personal loyalty. I'll be the first to say it's easy for me to sit here and say this in hindsight, but People like Steve run into situations like this all the time. In fact, it frequently goes worse when it comes time to exit the business. People assume that they have a shared vision for where things are going from here, but that simply isn't always the case. If one partner decides that they want to sell out to some big private equity firm and they just want a big fat paycheck, while the other one wants to do whatever morally seems correct to them and just hand off the business to someone else without making any money, this can go at odds with each other. Life-changing amounts of money make emotional decisions significantly harder for just about everybody. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. I've seen some partnerships between friends and family work really well. One client I work with went into business with his college roommate before they signed anything, defined roles, went over worst case scenarios, and then when they were ready, had an outside third party, in this case an attorney, write up an agreement between the two of them. They still had tough moments, but formal agreement, mutual respect, and clear communication made it so that they actually were able to be pretty successful. From what he was telling me, they had real conversations and it didn't feel like it was going to impact their relationship. It was just about the business. That's what made it work. If you're thinking about going into business with someone you're close with, go in with your eyes wide open. Prioritize the relationship by taking the business seriously. If you're already in business with someone close to you, how's that going? If you could go back and change something, what would it be? Maybe some other people can learn from some of the things you've learned.